almost daily, I get a question. My doctor told me because I have low thyroid function, I cannot fast. What do you think? Like there are so many people with Hashimoto's, low thyroid function, even maybe even over thyroid function, who are told you can't fast because you have thyroid disease. So what do you say to that?
Well, I think that for one thing, if they had some training in endocrinology, there's always a diabetic educator. And diabetic educators, as we know, are bought and paid for by Big Pharma, right? And so the diabetic educator wants to manage your diabetes. They don't want to reverse it. You and I know it can be reversed. And so the mantra they have is to eat 5 or 6 meals a day to protect you. Well, thyroid patients also go to that same diabetic educator and endocrinologist, and that has seeped into family practice and internal medicine, and it's a lie. I'm a Christian, so I'm going to say it this way. The Bible says we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And in that, we are designed to go for periods without a fork to our mouths. And it's the best thing for your body to skip a period of eating. If that may be breakfast, that may be a snack, just skipping it so your body can work on your behalf. And for thyroid patients, of course, my attorney wanted me to tell you this is not medical advice, but for thyroid patients, you can absolutely fast and fast beautifully. And I'm glad no one had that message in my ear. I don't know if I would have taken a step back because sometimes I don't listen because I am a researcher. But you very well can fast and you will feel your best. And again, so that's why I almost think people are coming to this podcast going, well, I want my money back. I want to hear someone who's lost, 97 pounds in 2 months. Well, mine was 15 pounds in, a few months. But what I'm doing is healing some things in my body because fasting is so healing. Now, I was diagnosed finally with Hashimoto's, again, very high antibody count, very, very high, 1,500, and then it got to 2,400.
And isn't
Which
like under 15 or 20?
yeah, you want it really at 10. You want them at 0
Okay.
because anything creeping up means it's creeping up. So I had been saying for 4 years after my third child was born in 1998, which is very common to have an autoimmune attack after pregnancy and childbirth. It's just what happens. And so that's when my vitiligo showed up. That's when my Hashimoto showed up. I have a rare swallowing disorder. It showed up after each pregnancy. So I had her in 98. 99, I started saying, something's not right. Like I was gaining some weight. What happened also, which is very common so the pendulum swings with your thyroid. And because of antibodies and autoimmune conditions, sometimes you can swing both ways. You can have Graves and you can have Hashimoto's. So right before my Hashimoto's, the onset, I started saying, oh my gosh, I got real skinny, again, a size a 6 for a 5'8". And I was like, well, this is fun. My pants are big. I had the little cute little red sweater and the little red pants because we're at the University of Arkansas and I had my red on. And then a few months after that, nothing had changed. All of a sudden, those pants couldn't zip up. Because what probably happened was right before my thyroid blew out, the soldiers came out and they said, let's give it one last college try. Let's do something and give her a thyroid. And it went petered and totally petered out. Took me 4 years to get diagnosed because no one looked at my antibodies. My TSH was creeping up. TSH is one tiny piece of the puzzle. You have to look at your T3, T4, reverse T3. You have to look at antibodies. You have to look at your high sensitivity C-reactive protein to see if you have inflammation. I mean, there are just a lot of pieces to this puzzle. And I'm sorry that your doctor only tests for TSH. Go back and demand an entire panel, complete thyroid panel. And
Which
finally, when I got that,
TSH is a pituitary hormone, it's not even
no,
thyroid. So,
but as we know, the carrot that dangles is if your TSH is out of range, here's a drug.
right.
Because as we know, Big Pharma is the one that drives your doctor to fix whatever's ailing you. through a pill. And you and I are saying, no, I back up. You don't have to have a pill. You can do some things with your body. And for thyroid patients, it often is removing gluten. You're saying, but gluten doesn't bother me. My stomach doesn't hurt. Glyphosate is on the gluten, and that then in turn attacks your thyroid or other conditions. So with mine, it did take 4 years to get the diagnosis. And I mean, they diagnosed me with depression. My husband said, "You're not depressed, but you're the most tired adult I know."
Yeah.
Like I was taking 3 naps a day. His mother had stage 4 breast cancer, and he said had more energy than I did. I couldn't, and I was homeschooling my kids. I was still doing some radio TV. I was barely hanging on. They gave me Adderall, and I am ADD. So what? But the Adderall probably got me over the hump of the energy part, but it only lasts, a few hours because it's short half-life. So I couldn't, y'all, I mean, I was having a really hard time. They would ask me to fill in on morning shows. I couldn't do it. I didn't have the brain power or anything because thyroid controls brain fog can often be thyroid. So I'm so glad that I was on a thyroid journey, which gave me the love for women's health. And it gave me the love to help to empathize with women because I've been there. And I did all that before I focused on fasting because the two messages could have exploded